Welcome back to day 14 of the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge hosted by Ethony. The link for all of the prompts for this challenge can be found in the description box below if you want to check that out, and also Ethony's YouTube video explaining the prompts is embedded into that link as well. For today, the prompt is: which tarot decks give you the most insight by way of the imagery and symbology of the cards rather than intuition or basic tarot knowledge? And this came from Elizabeth Harkin. I've only picked one deck, although it says decks, I've only picked one. And the deck that I've picked is my Everyday Witch tarot. This was the one where I kind of started to read tarot differently, and I started to really develop a love for tarot in a way that I hadn't with any of the decks that I'd had previously, and it was really the one that kick-started me into wanting to learn more. But there's so much stuff in the imagery, like the Hierophant imagery is very different to anything that I'd ever seen. And I found that when I got this particular card, for example, I would be reading based off the fact that there's a teacher and some students, and they're meditating and they're practicing meditation, and she's leading the way and helping them to find that inner voice for themselves. And you know, so I'd kind of start reading what I was seeing in the cards. Again, with the Hermit, there's a witch. I'm a witch, but there was a witch by a fire on her own, meditating, surrounded by her animals, looking inwards, with only, you know, her animals for companionship. And these are the kind of things that I would start to look at as I began reading these cards and thinking about. The Queen of Swords, again, you know, she's very regal looking. She has a white cat. That's interesting. Why a white cat? She's got scrolls next to her, which suggest knowledge and learning. And, you know, and yes, some of these things do tie back into actual tarot knowledge. Some of it, you could argue, is intuition. But those things came after. For me, it was very much being able to look at the pictures, look at the images, and just describe. I would just find myself describing what was going on in the card, what the image was doing, what people were wearing, what they were looking at, where they were going, you know, those kind of things. And the judgment, like when I read this judgment card, I quite often read this judgment card as dancing along to the sound of your own music, or the beat of your own drum, kind of, not the beat of your own drum because there's no drum, but you know, dancing along to the sound of your own music is often the first thing that pops into my head when I see this card. And that's very much around the imagery of this card rather than intuition or any pre-known tarot knowledge. So I definitely found that with this one, that quite often I would find myself just describing what was in the card, and that would lead me on to describing what the card meant, what it related to, why it was where it was in a particular spread, how it answered the question. And from there I then went on to really look at my kind of tarot journey in more depth. So it was another short and sweet one today because I didn't really have too much to say on this particular subject, and this is the only real deck that sprung out for me when I read the prompt. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for spending this time with me, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care and lots of love. Bye bye.